know it's not right door. Sorry. I was going to open up the desk door. Have it put in here, but you know what? I was like, I got it that way. And I put the mic in there. What's up, Mr. Clark? Oh, you made it back here. You're here? Yeah.
No, I was getting ready to wedding. And I was doing something with my granddaughters. And I said, I hope I still know this well enough to see what he does when he goes to work. First you have to
You know I will. All right. All right.
Recording in progress.
All right, welcome everyone. It's now about 6:31 p.m. I'd like to call to order the Fenton Township Board meeting on this Tuesday, the 2nd day of June, 2026. I would ask everyone to please stand for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Gopal, will you lead us, please?
Yes, sir. Dear Lord, we gather here tonight to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. And as always, we thank you for being the source of our guidance tonight. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As always, thanks, Mark. Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. I can't find my pencil. Lorraine,
Present.
Reed,
Here.
Clark,
Present.
Krug is present, Kessler,
Here.
Gopal,
Here.
and Tucker is absent right now.
Yes, he's absent.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe he was.
He's up on the island having a good time.
Okay.
All right.
You have 6 members present. You have a quorum.
Thanks. I'd also like to note for the record that we have our Township Attorney, Jack Belzer, our Operations Manager, Tom Broker, our Fire Chief, Ryan Volz, our Zoning Administrator, Mike Deem, and our Assistant Manager, Megan Gito, are present this evening here. And also we have our Township Engineers, Alan and Melissa Lawrence from Lawrence Engineering, that has joined us via Zoom. Tom, will you detail the procedures for those attending tonight's virtual meeting?
Yes, to the members of the public attending tonight's meeting in person or via Zoom, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded to be shown on public access TV on Spectrum Channel 191. Recorded meetings are also posted on the Fenton Area Community Television YouTube channel. For those attending via Zoom, we ask you that you keep your microphone muted until we reach portions of the meeting where public comment is allowed. For tonight's meeting, there are no public hearings, therefore all public comment will be taken near the end of the meeting. Meeting materials are available for download on the Township's website at fentontownship.org.
All right, thanks, Tom. We're going to move right on to the first business order, which is the approval of the agenda. Are there any requests to amend tonight's agenda? Hearing none, a motion is in order to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll support a motion to approve. Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Reed,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
I vote yes. Kessler,
Yes.
Gopal,
Yes.
Tucker's absent. Lorraine,
Yes.
motion passes.
And the agenda stands approved as presented. Next business order is meeting minutes, including the packet are the meeting minutes for the May 19th regular meeting. Are there any corrections or requested revisions to these meeting minutes? Hearing none, the meeting minutes stand approved as presented. Moving on to expenditures.
Mr. Supervisor, it was special and regular meeting.
Did I miss that? I did. What's the special meeting?
Well, we had a special meeting and a regular meeting.
No,
on the
but I
19th.
mean, same date.
Yeah, same day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Including the packet are the meeting minutes for the May 19th regular and special meeting. Any corrections or requested revisions? All right. Hearing none, the meeting minutes stand approved as presented. Next business order is expenditures. Are there any questions from the board regarding any of the invoices? Nothing? Okay, I'll entertain a motion regarding the payment of expenditures totaling $396,348.56 for payment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, I vote yes. Clark,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
and Tucker's absent, motion passes.
And the expenditures stand approved as presented. As Tom said, we have no public hearings tonight. Reports. We have no reports tonight, but are there any committee reports to be made to the board this evening? All right, moving on to communications. We have no communications tonight. Adoption of ordinances, also none. Unfinished business, none. Moving on to new business. This is award of contract Jennings Road sanitary sewer extension. Melissa? Do you want to go over that?
Yeah, we received 3 bids for the Jennings Road sanitary sewer project. Bid opening was Thursday afternoon. There were 2 that were real close to the $4.5 million mark. They were about, I think, $80,000 separating those 2. And the higher one was almost $13 million. All good contractors. All packages were complete. I would recommend awarding to the low bid, which was DVM Utilities. Also the contractor who has the Tupper Lake project.
Thanks, Melissa. Are there any questions or comments from the board? I was present at the opening of the bids. Just to let you know, which is good news for the residents and also the board, is that when we first started looking at this project, bids were coming in around 7.5 to 6.5, which were our preliminary engineering estimates. And so basically, we're looking at about a $2 million savings for the residents. Sending it out for an RFP, like she said, we got 3 ranging anywhere from 4 and something to over 12 million. So, and we have worked with the company that she is recommending, and
We have worked with them before.
yes. Any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion regarding approval of the following. Award the Jennings Road sanitary sewer extension contract to DVM Utilities, Inc. with a contract amount of $4,481,654. To authorize the Township Operation Manager to execute the notice of award on the behalf of the Fenton Township, and authorize the Township Supervisor to execute the agreement and any related documents on behalf of Fenton Township.
I'll support a motion to approve.
Second?
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Reed,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker's absent, Kessler,
Yes.
pardon me, Lorraine,
Yes.
I vote yes. Clark,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, thanks, Bob. Next under new business, the continuation of a cooperative agreement, Genesee County Community Development Block Grant Program. Operations Manager Broke, will you review?
Yes, the CDBG program is operated under cooperative agreements between Genesee County and local municipalities. These cooperative agreements are in effect for 3 years at a time, which match up to the funding cycle from HUD. And the county is asking communities to decide if they wish to renew their agreement or continue in their agreement for the next funding cycle, which is 2027 through 2029. There's a letter in the packet that explains all of that. And although our township historically has struggled a little bit to find eligible projects, we always do find a good use for the money within the benefits of the community. So I recommend that the board approve renewal or continuation of the CDBG cooperative agreement for the next funding cycle.
All right, thanks, Tom. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion regarding the continuation of the Community Development Block Grant Cooperative Agreement between Fenton Township and the Genesee County for the years 2027 through 2029 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Clark,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
I vote yes. Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker's absent, Lorraine,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, thanks, Bob. All right, next under new business, resolution number 2026-11, US 23 sub-area plan. Our zoning administrator, Mike Dean, will go over it.
All right, good evening, everyone. So you have in front of you, right, a copy of the Fenton Township US 23 corridor plan. About a year ago, or last year, less than a year ago, the Genesee County Metropolitan Planning Commission made a presentation to you guys about their US 23 corridor study, which went from county line up to Flint. Part of that study looked at the interchanges in the township at Thompson Road and North Road. You've also had residents within the past year inquire about reclassifying their property from low density to highway service. There's also been improvements to the infrastructure along in the Thompson Road corridor area. Taking those into consideration, the Planning Commission went ahead and did a sub-area plan looking at the areas of the north side of Thompson Road, south of Ray, east of 23, west of Torrey, and then the area around the North Road interchange in the township. Starting at the North Road, because that one's a little bit easier. Historically, right, since at least 2002, the future land use plan has identified that area as a combination of commercial and public open space. Public parks and open space. The corridor study conducted by the county identified future road improvements that would be necessary down there, depending on intensity of use. That would include widening the on and off ramps onto North Road, and potentially long-term having a roundabout down there. For the area, so 2002 land use plan, right, had that as commercial and open space. 2018, we had a different consultant and a different philosophy in how to treat the master plan, right? Commercial, industrial, those all wrapped into mixed use. So there's really only residential categories and mixed use categories. So that area had been identified for mixed use and park. The area along Thompson Road, right, that we just mentioned, the square, in the 2002 master plan, right, the parcels directly abutting Thompson Road, all the way to the back half of the parcels along Ray Road were identified for industrial. In 2008, Township conducted their second Thompson Road corridor study, and that area was changed from industrial to town center, right? Again, encompassing the back halves of all those parcels along Ray Road. The 2018 master plan, again, each master plan had different consultants providing feedback on it. Identified those areas directly on Ray Road as low density residential, and the parcels off of Ray Road in that area as mixed use. It's part of the reviews of the maps, right? There's different philosophies that were done on the planning and the ways how master plans showed the future land use categories. The older maps, which were done more by hand than by current GIS, took a more globular philosophy. And what I mean by that is it wasn't directly following the property lines, right? But as we started using GIS, ArcView, ArcGIS more often, things started to become more square and follow property lines, right? So that's kind of the philosophy difference between the 2018 plan and 2008 plan, and how there's a hard line on the 2018 plan that wasn't there on the 2008 plan. If you read the text of the 2018 plan, it talks about, you know, these are general areas and not parcel specific, but anyone who looks at it, it's very easy to take the parcel specific point of view on them. When the corridor plan was updated again in 22 and then the master plan in 24, water came into the township, and it was important that we remove that mixed use category because it was sort of a catch-all. And instead we brought back different land use categories. That area was changed from that town center mixed use into highway service, understanding that the development there, right, was more consistent with the highway service use than town center. Parcels along Ray Road had remained identified as low-density residential, and the reasoning behind that was the condition of Ray Road itself. Ray Road is not a commercial road. It's, you know, it is a residential road, it's a dirt road, it's not in the best of shape. Encouraging any non-residential traffic on Ray Road would be a mistake. And the plan talked about that.
He, I guess, is against.
Then, as we mentioned,
Almost sounds like a prior person on the board.
so as we mentioned, the county went and did their corridor plan. They have identified improvements to that area. Township is working on putting roundabouts at the Thompson Road US 23 interchange. County is looking at improving Torrey Road going north, turning it into an all-season road. And that's not just going north to Ray Road, but going north into the county. The development of Mill Industries has brought water and sewer to the back parts of those parcels, where before it wasn't. And also now there's a private road that can access the parcels along US 23 without having to utilize Ray Road. So the Planning Commission presented a plan for public comment. The North Road area, right, was essentially the same plan that has been in the master plan, identifying the mixed-use area plus the parks area, and had additional information regarding the road infrastructure, right, that needs to be looked at if there's a change in use, new site plan, new rezoning request, understanding that, you know, the county is looking at improvements to North Road and US 23, we need to be part of that. And make sure that any development is coming, that the appropriate infrastructure is there. When looking at the area along the north side of Thompson Road, south of Ray Road, the original plan that was presented to the public included classifying that entire area as highway service, right, with the future development requirements that water and sewer would have to be available for any non-residential development. No non-residential access onto Ray Road unless Ray Road were improved. And so that plan, right, was then presented to the public, and the Planning Commission took comments at their May 14th, May 21st, and May 28th Planning Commission meetings. The comments received from the public included concerns about maintaining the township's agricultural and rural nature. Issues with concerns about traffic, decreased property value, noise pollution, potential effects on the environment, effects that tax abatements have had, infrastructure capacity, and as we mentioned, the character of the area. At the last Planning Commission meeting, there was also concerns about the revised plan being limited to only the parcel most adjacent to US 23. I would say that the Planning Commission agreed with most of these concerns. One thing that's important is that this is a sub-area plan, right? But it's a sub-area of the master plan as a whole. When, you know, talking about the character of the township, the rural character, and protecting agricultural lands, Planning Commission felt that this plan was actually doing that, and that the rural character and agricultural lands that the township has identified that need to be preserved are in the northwest corner of the township. That is part of the reason why there is an urban service boundary, right, that protects that northwest corner. It directs infrastructure within the boundary, which this is within. The goal is to direct smart growth where the infrastructure is available, where the road capacity is available, and as we mentioned, where water and sewer is available. The reduction of the Thompson area, Thompson Road, Ray Road area to one parcel was based on the fact that that parcel, it's adjacent to US 23, has access by private road to both Torrey Road and Thompson Road, which are primary county roads, and has access to water and sewer. The remaining of those parcels, right, were removed. Planning Commission has also recommended that the next time we look at the master plan, right, that area is, looked at again and taken with public comment for consideration of highway service. But based on the existing conditions today and on the public input, Planning Commission has made a recommendation of adoption of the US 23 corridor plan.
Thanks, Mike. You did a thorough job. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I have a comment. Actually, it's kind of a statement I'd like to make references, okay? These are my concerns and opinions and observations about this sub-area plan. I know there's been some concerns about worrying about exclusionary zoning. I don't feel exclusionary zoning is an issue here, as there are other parcels in the township that are zoned the same. And this is a lawyer question, I guess, Jack. If other specific zone parcels are developed, are we required to add more or rezone other existing parcels to avoid a lawsuit?
No,
Okay.
no.
So once we have one parcel that's zoned so-and-so, that meets the criteria for exclusionary
In
zone.
general sense, that's correct. So if you have, area zoned for manufacturing, once they're all filled up, you don't have to have more
Okay.
manufacturing areas developed or made available.
Thank you. I will not be making decisions to avoid a lawsuit, and if it comes to it, I'm totally comfortable with letting the judge decide what happens to the development. I don't believe property values will not be harmed by this sub-area plan. If a property was, say, valued at $400,000 prior to this development, I can't believe that our residents will get the same value with a manufacturing business next to and behind their property. I'm not going to decide what's in the best interest of the residents when the residents have told us directly what's in their best interest. I work for the residents, not businesses. There's a mention of only a few speaking on this, but it's the few that are directly affected by this decision that weigh the heaviest on my decision-making process. I've heard that approximately 180 to 200,000 taxes will be generated for the schools. Lake Fenton Community Schools operate on a budget of around $30 million a year. The extra 200,000 will generate an extra 0.67% to the budget. While I appreciate the extra money for the schools, the less than 1% more it'll generate does not outweigh the financial harm / mental stress it would have on our constituents living near the site. Although not a large sample of the township residents spoke at the Planning Commission meetings, the ones who did need to be considered. School board bond elections have far less than a majority turnout, but we still must honor the wishes of those who actually come out to vote and make their opinions count. In 2023, 13.7% of the total voters voted on the school bond proposal, but by law, we're required to honor the wishes of those who took the time to come out and vote. If this was in some field with nothing around it, I would be okay with this, but it's not. This directly affects the people that live next to it, our constituents. And for this reason, I'll be voting no on this resolution.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Yes, I need to ask for an exception to the rules instead of breaking them like I normally do. I would request, because I know these people have comments that they want all the board to hear before we vote on it. I'm asking the exception be, they get to address the board before we address the resolution.
I don't have a problem with that. Only thing is that all of their comments and everything are in the minutes that are in our board meeting, so all of their comments, if you have read if you've read it, they're there. But if there are people that haven't been able to voice their opinion, or, if there's something new that you would like to say to the board, if they want to get, all I'm saying is that it's in our packet. Hopefully, we've all read the packet. Yeah, so yes.
If you're gonna do something like Bob suggested, the board ought to vote yes or no on that. Because you're changing the procedure, so it's a board procedure, so the board ought to vote yea or nay on that.
I'll
What
accept a
about-
motion.
What about prior notice, Jeff? prior notice. There might be people here today, but if we didn't notice out that we were doing, that we
A
were
public
gonna take
hearing,
public
I-
comment, some people might.
That's
not
my
come.
concern.
There was a public hearing at the planning commission level, and so everybody understands, this is like the master plan, this is not a rezoning.
Correct.
This doesn't, but it sets the framework for a rezoning. But getting back to what Bob was saying, you can, the board as a whole can decide however you wanna do the agenda. So if Bob wants to do that, the board ought to vote yea or nay. I mean, I guess he's kinda making a motion, that's the way I'd interpret it, and so the board can say yea or nay to what Bob requested.
You want it?
I
You
have
want
a-
it?
I have a couple questions for Mike. I'm
Sure.
fine with moving to that, but I have a couple questions. for
Sure.
Mike first. So Mike, how does this differ from what's currently in the master plan? Does it differ dramatically?
No, I would not say it differs dramatically. It adds additional criteria for the Planning Commission Township Board to review for a rezoning request. And it would change the land use category essentially for one parcel, which the Planning Commission had a long discussion about.
And what is that one parcel currently?
So it is the 20-acre parcel directly adjacent to US 23 on the south side of Ray Road.
And is it currently residential?
It is currently part of a planned unit development for the remainder of the Miller properties. Right, and there was a specific restriction on the uses for that parcel based on the master plan. And when the ordinance PUD was discussed, the discussion included that, if the master plan were to change, that condition could change also.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, good question. Bob, do you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we allow an exception to let audience members address the board pertaining to Resolution 2026-11.
Second.
Any further discussion? Clerk Kurd, will you please call the roll?
Tucker's absent. Lorraine?
Yes.
Gopel?
Yes.
Kessler?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
And I vote yes, the motion is approved.
What we'll do then is, again, if you have something, even if you said it, it's fine with us, we voted on that, you can certainly come up. It is, all of your concerns were voiced in the meeting minutes that we would have reviewed. But if you would like to speak to the board, address anything on the board, especially if there's someone here that didn't have an opportunity to make those, how many meetings were there, Mike? 3 meetings, then feel free to come up. All I would need you to do is we would request that you keep it to about 3 minutes, which is pretty standard, but please come up. All we need to know is your name. Anybody in the audience that likes to address the board? I see how you are. The one that asked my daughter to wear a uniform.
That's right, I did. My name is Charlene Holtzlander, and I live at 11401 Fairbanks Road. I
Hey,
would like,
Bring that mic down.
Bring the mic down
I'm
for you,
sorry, I'm
Charlene.
short. I would just like to remind this board that this is a rural area. We do not have our own police force. You're taking away why I moved here, okay? I want to keep it small. I want to keep our kids safe. And I'm sorry, Miller Industries, but I think you're getting too big. I think you brought the land. You knew it was farmland. It's not a business. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to address the board?
Good evening, good evening, everybody. Matt Burchard at 4260 West Four Lakes Drive. I went to the last 3 meetings and sat down and listened to everything. I've learned a lot over the last, 30, 60, 90 days, right? Government, by one thing, is very hard to be a part of. Learning rezoning and everything else. But what I did learn over researching that was that master plans are guides and way to build our town. And everybody who moved to Fenton Township, myself 16, almost 17 years ago now, moved up here for the rural care. I did speak at those last meetings. I suggest the minutes that you look at and read don't show the emotion that the residents had. So if you can get the videos, please listen to those videos before making a judgment on this. Words are just words, but hearing people speak with the emotions. There were people crying during that time frame. And these are their homes and livelihoods that they have. They moved to Fenton Township for the rural feeling. There were people for and against the building of it, which they're here tonight. And as people have said, nothing against Mr. Miller and his buildings. The buildings are beautiful. I commend you for that stuff there. I have no interest in this at all. I have no financial interest. I have nothing winning on this my end of here. But people that were for the plans of the Millards Industries last week, they're direct friends of Miller's. They live on Silver Lake Road. They're here tonight. The Risings, Action Water Sports. The lady who spoke in the minutes, Alexa Hofstra, said she is thankful for the township or the Miller building for being there to have her a job. Makes you think, yes ma'am, hold on. It makes you think that she does work there based upon the minutes and how she spoke at the meeting. However, Miss Alexa is the CFO for Rhodes & Johnson. And Rhodes & Johnson is the company that built the building for Miller Industries. So please read and watch all 3 of those meetings in the public comments before a decision is made tonight, and do his best for the residents of this township. Today it may not be Miller Industries, or today it's Miller Industries in that section, but who knows? Next year it could be something off of Owen Road and Linden Road or wherever somebody lives. So, thanks everybody.
Matt, let me ask you just a quick
Sir.
question. And I do appreciate everybody that's here. We all love the township. I want to know specifically, if you can for me, because it's important to me. I've lived here in Fenton for 44 years, sorry, 44 years. I moved here for the same reason you did. I love it. I didn't want to move to the city. If I did, I'd be in the city of Fenton or Birmingham. I love what I see. Changing what you see next to an expressway, how does that take away our rural feel? And this isn't, I'm not being adversarial. I'm saying when you see that, how does that take away what we look out this window and see?
For sure. So, out this window we see here, yes, these lakes are already filled up. When I moved out here, some of the plats were still available for land. However, other people aren't into lake living. They want acreage, they want land. So in the first planning commission meeting that I spoke at, the corner house at Ray Road and Torrey was in the initial plat map for this possible rezoning from, was it ag or R3 low density res to the highway service. Well, the gentleman who built there has a 10-acre property and he just built a house that's 4,000 square feet. So for him, he's not gonna wanna see that. He bought that property and he built it in 2024. So I mean, I understand that yes, near a highway, you might have businesses and industries going on, but modifying a sub-area plan just for a single parcel and a single project doesn't seem like what a plan's supposed to be. And I understand growth is gonna happen. We've seen that happen over the years, but we're doing something just for one building, one parcel right now.
So the area, and again, I understand.
At
That
first,
piece of property that's sitting there next to the expressway,
Yep.
nobody's gonna wanna build a home, nobody's gonna wanna build anything because, I mean, who would wanna listen to cars go by every day? So I'm trying to, because I feel the same way. I listen to Mr. Gopal all the time, and, he thinks I wanna build things here. It's not it. My point is that if I need to understand why this piece of parcel takes away, I know that there's people that are affected there, and, that one piece of property, I can't see anything else ever being done to it. Especially, you said he built the house in 2024. Miller's first building was there. He built that knowing that that was there. So my point is, it's up against the expressway.
sure. So the house that was built in 2024, well, he owned it since however long ago it was. And that property was built in roughly 2024. Maybe started in 2022 or 2023. But that was built before the second building was created, and the third building. So if the person who's building this is aware of what's going on in the township, they can read the meetings, they can read the minutes, they see the planning happening, they see the ordinances coming through, they see the rezoning request. They see the rezoning request coming through saying that, this land is now protected to ag use only. And then it's just a matter of time before we find a way to circumvent the process and I'm gonna put my own private road in and now I can then move forward with it. So,
I appreciate your passion.
thank you, appreciate it.
I got a question
Yes,
for
sir.
If the mill industry buildings weren't there, let's just say they had hotels there, restaurants, would your opinion be the same?
I have not really weighed that option yet at this point in time. It might change differently. I know we talk about tax revenue and bringing things in, right? So take an industrial warehouse, they're gonna build it, they're gonna get SEV or taxable value on a certain size property, they're gonna apply for industrial tax breaks for the state of Michigan. They're gonna reduce their SO tax from 16 to 8, which is then gonna drop that payment. And if I'm correct, then that money, I believe the SO school operating tax doesn't go directly to the school. I believe it goes back to the state of Michigan because of the proposal A from 1994, which then that reduces how much the township has to get, but it's not a true check back to the school for 250 grand, is what I'm seeing. Now, if you have businesses, hotels, let's say other spas, things like that, you probably are gonna get more money being used and spent inside the township versus just an industrial complex that's gonna build out machinery for great large HVAC systems. Nothing against the HVAC systems at all, but it's the idea there. And then who knows, in 12 years, if these are approved and all of a sudden the industrial tax breaks are gone, now the property has to pay that higher tax rate. Well, would the person who has that property now try to consider selling it off? And then what's gonna happen then? Who's gonna buy it? Could it turn into an Amazon facility? Could it turn into a potential data center? Things like that. So those are some of those things I see. So I would say I'm probably more open to businesses that actually help the area with the local residents versus a business like a hotel or a gas station that's owned by an out-of-state representative. And as I mentioned, Mr. Miller, nothing against the Miller family. However, it's just the idea of keep it in town, but yes. So,
Thanks, Matt.
thank you guys.
Appreciate it. Anybody else who'd like to address the board? Again, all we need is just your name, first name.
I'm Jason Lonsberry. I live at 3215 Ray Road. I am the 1 acre parcel that's adjacent to a new proposed Miller building. I gave you guys all a copy of this back about 15 months ago. And, you know, it addressed the concerns on the second building before it was approved. And now, on this third building, it ends up being like 275 feet. So from about here to the lake, probably 275 feet, there'll be a 40-foot tall building out my back door. So that's a little bit of an issue for me. I talked to a real estate lady and, you know, had them propose something to the Millers because frankly, if this goes through, I sure don't want to be there. I asked everybody on the planning commission if they would want to live next to a huge pole barn. Not one of them did, right? So nobody does, but it would be me. I'm the one that's going to be right next to it. Some of my other concerns are the site plan, the way the parking lot runs down over to the retention pond. I mean, is that going to affect the water level there? We're still on wells, you know, there's no talk. It's funny, Ray Road, I mean, I've been here 50 out of my 54 years, and, you know, Ray Road's never mentioned. I mean, you know, most people during my whole life growing up went down there to either have sex or drink or do drugs at the end of Ray Road. That's what they did. So all this talk about it now, it's, you know, that's quite something. Mike mentioned about Ray Road. It's barely a road. 2 years ago, Genesee County finally came in and put 8 inches of gravel on that. So that's the best that road's been in my whole lifetime. I've wore about 8 cars out on it. Another one of my concerns is it's a private road on both entrances. I mean, Tucker said he saw in 20 years the envision of that whole corridor being, you know, freeway accessible property. And when they mentioned that, I said I might, right? I said I might do that, but that's before there's no access on Ray Road. I can't come in on the private road because that's, you know, a private road, right? That gives nothing to the community. So now if they're gonna make it, you know, a freeway accessible in 15 or 20 years, you'll have to put another road in for the rest of the public, seeing how both accesses are already private. Another thing that I noticed is it's called North Park. I mean, it's not a park. Someone goes to McDonald's, get a lunch, hey, there's a park there, let's go over, drive back there and have a lunch. A park has picnic tables and swings and grass areas and all kinds of other stuff. I mean, at least put industrial, call it what it is, right? I mean, name it North Industrial Park, because that's what it is, it's not a park. So that is my concerns. I hope you'll take all that into consideration. Thank you very much.
Jason, I appreciate it.
Jason, I think you're safe on your confession about what you used to do. There's a time frame.
You have a little experience, Bob?
No, I just know Jason.
That's just the truth. Right? That's the whole truth.
Anybody else like to address the board? Just pull that mic towards you.
All right. Hello, my name is Susan Foland, and I wanted to talk about the property there at Miller Industries. We don't want Thompson Road to look like Owen Road. We don't want that. We came out here, you stated it. There's been many other people who have stated that they don't want that to look like that. They want the rural feel, the rural look. That's why I came out here 25 years ago, and many others, the same thing. We don't want it to look like that. There's also what was talked about in previous meetings with the Planning Commission. There are buses that access and go over and constantly, go back and forth between the schools and everything. All that traffic is going to be a nightmare. It just keeps going and going. Today, coming over here, the freeway was messed up north and south of here. People were getting off at Thompson Road, so that's gonna happen all the time. We don't need that along with everything else that might be coming up. We just don't want it. It's not anything that we ever thought we would deal with. Not only that, but the people that live on the west side of the freeway, if you're trying to get to the hospital and all that traffic is through there, how do you make it through that to get in? If you've got an emergency going, how do you make it through all that? It's not just that we don't want it there. It's not safe. It's not safe for the kids. It's not safe for the student drivers. It's not safe for all the people who are trying to get, just carry on with their daily lives. It's just not what is wanted here.
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to address the board?
Hi, my name's Alexa Hofstra. I live at 13505 Torrey Road. I did speak at the last meeting, and regardless of my job title and who I work for, it doesn't matter. We could talk about, I work for Enzo's Pizza, which is family owned. I work for Uncle Ray's, which is family owned. There are plenty of family owned businesses in this community, and Miller Industries happens to be one of them. And if they're going to keep their business here, and it might cost them more money to do so, but they're gonna keep it here in our township and provide jobs for working moms like myself, I absolutely support that. My daughter goes to school at West Shore Elementary in Lake Fenton. We live on Torrey Road. It's busy, yes. I've had zero issues with her getting on the bus in the morning. No one's ever passed the bus. I have felt very safe with her on the bus. We play outside of my driveway, which faces Torrey Road. Ever since the second building went up, I have seen no increase in traffic, no issues whatsoever. And like I said, I'm a working mom, so if I can have a job in my community where it allows me to have more time with my family and my daughter, I absolutely support that. So to say that, I know that myself and there's other people in the community that support the businesses, and I support it. I think it should be here. I think the land makes sense. I wouldn't want my house backed up to a highway, so I don't know, I don't appreciate when everyone talks for the whole community, because there are plenty of people in this community that do support it.
Thank you very much, Alexa. Anybody else here that's present that would like to address the board? Mr. Miller?
never feel like I have to. My name's Tom Miller, 3070 West Thompson Road, which is where our building is. I feel like we have been great neighbors, and we have been helpful in this township. I think we had a lot to do with water and sewer being brought in. We pay significant amount of taxes, regardless of what they may think. I think we're good for the schools. We're providing almost 600 jobs. So that's people that don't have to go to Romeo or Rochester or south of Brighton to go to work. They can work in this community. I've been fortunate enough that I can employ some of my grandkids who want to work there. If they want to, they can. But I've also employed a lot of people that aren't my family. We have maybe 33 brand new interns this year that are all coming from local colleges. We bring the high school kids in to show them what we do, to see if we can get interested in being in the trades. I can't even tell you how many new tradespeople we put in, because I don't work there every day. I'm sure Chad could do that. But the point is, we're employing a lot of people in this community, and those people are buying homes in this community. They're buying gas. They're going to the grocery stores. I've lived here since '72. When they put McDonald's on Owen Road, it was a big deal. We couldn't wait to go. It was a really big deal when McDonald's came in. And now look what you have, Aldi and Target, and I mean, we all know what's here. You're not gonna be able to stop development. But what kind of development do you want? We're clean. We don't belch smoke. We don't make a lot of noise. We don't have smokestacks. You look over there, you'll never see anything coming out of there. For what we do, we are relatively quiet. Lasers don't make a lot of noise. So if you're looking for something, I don't know how you would find a business that does everything we're doing for the community and has such a invisible footprint as we do. And they talk about the rural community and what it was years ago. Well, I was here years ago. When I bought that property from Halil Saab back in the early 90s, frankly, it was a dump. I brought in a guy named Lyle Hippensteel and took out about 18 old rusty cars out of the swale. You know, it goes down into what they called the Egyptian drain. We pulled out multiple numbers of old cars, untold numbers of washing machines, old water heaters, stacks of windshield glass. I would have no idea why there would be stacks of bottles and cans, 500,000 of them. It was a dump back in there. And we have cleaned all of that up. And we're conscious of the environment. We work with Eagle as hard as it is. We work with Eagle to make sure that what we're doing is within the bounds. And we've worked with Lawrence Engineering, who I'm sure all of you are very well aware of, and they're probably online right now. And they've helped us every step of the way to make sure that we comply. I don't know what more we could do for our community than what we've done. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Anybody that doesn't know Mr. Miller, this is Tom Miller from Miller Industries. His son is with the glasses on his head. That is Chad. If you'd like to talk to him anytime after or before. Yes, sir.
I'm Greg Rising, and first to address the comment that was made about the Risings earlier. We are casual friends in the Millers at the very best. Chad's wife used to babysit my kids 35 years ago. If that makes us close friends, then I guess we are. I just think that the development area, some development has to happen in this community, and to bring dollars in to support what we all want: police, fire, roads, and schools. And this development is a very low impact development for us. It's a chance to bring in a valuable piece of property. It's going to bring a lot of taxes, a lot of value, jobs, and all those things to our area, and it's really pretty low impact compared to what a lot of other things could be. It's not a Costco, it's not a Sam's Club. it's pretty low impact for traffic and environmental and all the other things. Thank you.
And what is your name again?
Greg.
Greg? Sorry about that, Greg. Anybody else that would like to address the board that's here?
Mary Rising, 4389 Island View Drive. To reiterate what my husband just said, the longest conversation I have ever had with Mr. Miller was standing in line at a presidential election about 20 years ago when we still voted at the fire hall on Owen Road, and not even over here. I don't even know when it was, but we were in line, and that's the longest conversation I've ever had with a gentleman. So we're not close friends. I came today to the township. I called first. I wanted to gather some information so I could speak intelligently tonight, because one of my big issues was people are opposed to tax abatements. And I don't think they're bad things. I think they help developers. But anyway, when I came up to I was told to wait till a lady came back from lunch. I did that, I came. She wouldn't give me the information because she said it was already gathered by somebody on the board to be presented tonight. I don't see it. I haven't heard anything about it, and that really bothers me that I took the time to come up and try to proactively lay things out and really have an understanding of, you know, if those were empty lots there, we'd get this little bit of money. But they're not, they're big lots now, and they're generating money, and they'll continue to generate more. And people are downplaying that, and I feel that that's not right. And I feel like I was misled today at the township offices upstairs.
Well, Mary, I will address that. First of all, you have to FOIA something, so we didn't turn you away. And you're right, we have got information because we, like social media, something starts out on social media and it turns into something that, you know, if my face was green one day, the next thing I know I'm dead and in a casket, and, you know, how things grow organically. What happened was when you came in, I didn't know that until afterwards. I think Tom told me. But it was a FOIA request. A FOIA request is something you have to put in, and then we gather the information and give it to you. Since there was stuff on social media about taxes, we asked our tax assessor, Julia, which is present here tonight, to put it in a spreadsheet so we could better understand, because she's the expert, just like I may be the supervisor. I run at 30,000 feet. Tom runs, you know, day-to-day ops. He has his, so Tom ran one, and Julia ran one, and if you want, Julia can do it. I know that we also have a board member that's up on top of it also. I can do a 30,000 foot. We do have the data, if you want to FOIA it, so people do understand, because there is a lot of things that people say what we do, you know, as far as giving tax breaks. Well, you know, those taxing authorities, every one of them, whether it's Mott, Lake Fenton High School, they're all noticed. And if they were, you know, if they objected to those tax breaks, they would be here, every one of them. But again, if you take a look at the property that was there, and I'll give you a basic, on Miller's second building, it was ag. They were paying $200 and some odd per year to Lake Fenton schools. As it is now, currently, they're paying about 200, and do you want to take it from there?
As of now, they're paying $213,000 a year to Lake Fenton School.
That's just to the Lake Fenton schools. And if you look at it when phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, even with us giving them at 50%, okay, and as a businessman myself, when I make a decision on what I'm going to build, whether it's a high-rise in downtown St. Pete, that's all in your formula. If an interest rate moves 1 point, I wouldn't even consider it unless the municipality in which I'm going to is favorable to what I'm doing. And if they are, they want the jobs, they want my building, they will be favorable to me, and that's an indicator. That's like a leading economic indicator to me. It's like, yes, they want me there. If they don't, I'm not going to invest that money. But the point, going back to the point, when building 3, if it's built, will bring over $500,000 a year to Lake Fenton schools. Is that right, Tom? Is that right? You wanna?
I don't have the percentage.
Julia, is that right?
For building 3.
I can do the new building, and I'm not sure where, I have totally different numbers for that.
All right, do you want to go out and give the numbers so I'm not being...
Well, and I did it, I think what
I used a 528, 292 from the bottom of your spreadsheet.
That is a year, that is the increase that Lake Fenton schools will get in 1 year, just on their school tax. They were, previous to this, before the development, the school was collecting, okay, let me back up. So, because we're dealing with many years, so what I did was I did a comparison of the existing building, when it came in, what it collected in 2024, and what the 33-acre piece collected. Lake Fenton Schools collected $792 off of the 33 acres in 2024 before Miller purchased the property. Okay? Prior to that, the school was getting about $12,000 from the existing Miller building that was there. And with the land and the IFTs, the difference for what's there now, including the new building, not the proposed building, Lake Fenton Schools versus $12,725 that they would be receiving for the school tax funds, they will now be receiving $528,292.
Tom, don't leave.
And that's just the schools.
So
And-
that's, go ahead.
And one thing people are talking about, IFTs and things of that nature, the biggest thing is land, IFTs do not apply to land. So you were looking at the agricultural piece that is now the second new building. That was valued at agricultural for $88,000 and it was capped because the person that owned it had owned it for many, many years. And once that came off, and the parcel was split and the property uncapped, that is now, it went from like 88,000 to like $1,500,000, I think is what I had on here. And that's taxable value, and that's in the land. And IFT does not hit the land value, it only hits the building improvement portion.
Well, back to my original statement, I'm in favor of them receiving something to help them with their development. I think that's wonderful, that's an opportunity that businesses can have, because in the long run, we're going to get a lot from that as residents of this community. And we're not gonna stop growth. I've lived here I'm 70 years old, I've lived here all but 9 years of my life. I've lived in the township. And I've seen a lot of growth in that time. And most of what's happened is delightful. I wish my parents were here to see it. So anyway, I think what they're doing is great. I think this is an opportune area to continue to grow as industrial or whatever it is that they're doing. It seems to just fit in that spot. And I don't know why it's a big deal. So I'm very much in favor of it. I think that what they're doing is bringing good things to our township that I appreciate.
Mary, thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to address the board? Just on this topic? Yes, sir. Come on up, and just state your name.
Tim Volan, 11421 Fairbanks. I just want to state that I am not, or I'm against this development going forward. On a side note, I do drive school bus and I have had stops on Torrey Road and I've had my reds run multiple times. So I do not believe that that road is safe. As far as the development goes, I do not believe this area needs to be developed any further than it already is. We've lived out here since 2001 and I do not like how much it has grown up in the 25 years that we've been here. And at that time I would have been, what, 12? So I'm now 36. I've seen how much this area has grown and I do not like it. If I wanted to live in a more urban area, I would be living back down in Detroit or Hazel Park like we used to live. And I don't want to see that out here. We go out to Oakley for the tractor show in August and I love how empty that place is. And I don't like seeing the overdevelopment here. This is already too many areas in this town that are landlocked because of either routes across the highway or how far crossroads are. I do not believe adding the roundabouts is going to solve any issues as far as traffic flow. And there are also currently other properties on Thompson Road that are either sitting abandoned or for sale that I think if he really wants to put a warehouse, why doesn't he develop those? Those are already designed. There's already property there for that. Why do we need to add more area for the highway service and more industrial? So I'm against any further development.
Thank you.
Tom,
Anybody?
don't you wanna reconsider with all these taxes you're paying? Could we consider that third building? It's a lot of
Is there
taxes.
anyone else here that would like to, yes, ma'am?
My name is Mary Young. I live on Torrey Road. I've been to the 3 prior planning commission meetings, and I guess I have a couple of comments. One thing I thought that was interesting, it was just said moments ago, is you said when the new building is built. I didn't know that it already has been approved. But
It
but
has
that was
not.
said, you
Oh,
said
is that
when
what
the
I
new,
said?
okay, but I just find that interesting. The gentleman that spoke that has the 1 acre property right next to it, he's gonna be looking at the building. There's a lady that lives down the street that says the parking lot, the lights shine into her back window, okay? So, yes, it is next to the expressway, but it's gonna have a big effect on the constituents that live on Ray Road. There's people that live on Torrey Road that are upset because of all the trucks turning now into the North Park. There's a lady, she says, I take care of my grandchild. I can't afford to pay air conditioning, but I have to keep my windows closed because of all the noise. All of you represent the constituents of Fenton Township. I think Mr. Miller is a great person. I think his buildings are beautiful. The existing buildings are there. But this sub-area plan at the last planning commission, a lady that lives on Ray Road said, the plan is inaccurate. It says we agree with the changes. We don't agree. Go back and listen to the minutes. She said that. I haven't interviewed every person there, but the people I've talked to, they don't want it. At the other prior planning commission meeting, the lady on the board, and I'm bad with names, she said, why don't we do a survey, see what the people want? The gentleman that spoke earlier said, we don't have time. When you guys were deciding on like rental homes, you put it out to the public. What do you want to do? This is a big change for this community. The vast majority of people that have spoken at the prior planning commission meetings, they don't want it. The other lady said there's people that support it. Slow down. You represent the community. Find out what the community wants. Don't just base your decision on 15 people in this room, okay? Why can't you do a survey? Do you support the sub-area plan? Do you not support the sub-area plan? You know, the buildings are
I'm
there.
listening, I'm just trying to think of, do you take a survey township-wide or just the people that are affected? Because it's a township decision. It's not just the people that live within 300 feet of the building, so
Well,
if we were,
I think the township,
what if we did a survey and the township comes back and says, yeah, it's fine, it's where it should be, so you would accept that?
I mean, yeah, I think we're a democracy, okay? I mean, there's stuff posted online, there's people that they're not against it. They're opposed, they want to keep the rural community, okay? I just think, I don't think it's a good idea because I personally feel bad for the people that live right in that area. At the first planning commission meeting, one of the people that lived on Ray Road asked Mr. Miller, if you live there, would you want a 300 square foot building in your backyard? He answered honestly, he said no, okay? I give him credit for that. So if he doesn't want it in his backyard, why are those people gonna suffer and have it in their backyard? And ours, is it, I don't know, 8 houses on the road? But I mean, that was a great question in my opinion. He wouldn't want it. So why are they gonna have to look out their window and look at this monstrosity of a building? The Thompson Road already there. I mean, there's the bowling alley, there's the other, I mean, there's not houses right there. But there's houses that are gonna be directly affected by this 300 square foot warehouse. And I just think you represent everybody, you don't just represent a business.
I agree.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anybody else that would like to address the board?
Me.
Well, I'll come back to you.
Okay.
All right, if there's no one else that would like to address the board? Hmm? If there's anyone on Zoom, thank you, Mark. Is there?
Yes,
Yeah.
I will talk on Zoom.
All right, we'll go one at a time. I only saw engineering and us, so is there somebody else up there?
Yeah.
I guess.
Stephanie Mitchell, 4215 West Four Lakes Road. And my concern is that public may understand that businesses who get it, and a plan, please.
It's Stephanie, correct?
No.
Stephanie, can you hear me? Stephanie,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
yes, I can.
I don't know what's happening, but we're only hearing like 1 out of every 3 words. So maybe just whatever you're speaking into, just be consistent as far as space from that microphone. Like if you're talking into your phone or something, just keep it the
Yeah.
same distance, because we were
Can
missing
you hear
half
me
of what you're
now?
saying. Oh, yeah, perfect.
Okay, sorry, I'm at a Lake Fenton softball game for little kids. I live at 4215 West Four Lakes Road, and my concerns are the families that live around here. We all, we all have kids, we all drive these roads. I know, I go to West Shore, I go to Torrey Hill, I go to the middle school. I go to the PTO, I'm on the PTO, and we go up and down these roads all day long. The other day, we were with a thing full of kids, and the line of cars, they just said they can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, there's people at the meeting yelling you can't hear me, because there's a bunch of parents here listening to the meeting on their phones. So I will tell you, it is very important to families in Lake Fenton Community Schools. But if you go to any of our buildings, you travel these roads. Today, 23 had an accident on it, and the number of cars going up Torrey Road and Jennings Road was insane. You add in the line of cars leaving Miller Industries at 5 p.m. on a weekday, getting immediately on the expressway and going back to where they live. It's not safe for our families. It's not safe for people who live here. We don't have our own police department. We rent from Genesee County. If something were to happen, do we have the resources, the infrastructure to handle 600 jobs and all the people that live here in this community? I agree with it needs to be a survey of what the community wants. Not everyone can spend every Thursday coming up there to voice their opinion, but I think we need to do a better job of representing everyone. And my overall arching theme is those 2 buildings there exist. They already got their abatements. But stating that a 3rd building is gonna backfill the hole that the abatement gave is like pouring water into an empty bucket. It makes no logical sense that adding a 3rd building is basically backfilling what you already gave away. And sorry, it's kind of broken. I'm trying to walk around people but those are my thoughts for this building.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Is there anyone else on Zoom that would like to address the board? If so, you have to unmute. Wave your hand, do something. Okay. We have now listened to those in attendance, and we've listened to those listened to her on Zoom. I will now, well, it isn't public comment, so I can't close public comment, but I'll go back to the table here if there's any other questions or comments. But Bob, you want to comment? Go ahead.
Yep, and I will apologize to everyone in the room so I don't have to keep stopping. This is a bunch of bull. And the last word goes with an S, ends with an IT. There are issues such as infrastructure. I don't think our infrastructure fits. And to let Miller Industries know, and Tom, and I think I've known Tom longer than most people think I do. We didn't bring the sewers and water in here because Miller Industries was coming. The issue for water was to bring good, clean, clear water to the people that wanted it and to the schools so the kids didn't have to carry water bottles. Traffic. I don't think the roads are consistent with that. I agree with the lady that spoke about police coverage. We just left a meeting that we were trying to figure out how we get more police out here. It was mentioned a few months ago that they had 348 Fenton Township employees at Miller's. Now I hear it's 600. I've got to congratulate them on their ride sharing, because 2 days ago there were 61 cars in the parking lot. So that tells me there must be some people riding in the trunk and 3 or 4 wide in the cars. And what really has upset me, and I was promised, I'll catch hell when I get home, promised to not get upset, is that the whole row that has Miller Industries connected people, be they from a developer that builds his buildings or what, are sitting there with a shit house smile on their face, thinking this is funny. It ain't funny, folks. And I guess the best example I had, and Mike will remember this, when I had people wanting to come to my house from north of us. How did I tell them to get here? Well, I told them to come down 75 to 23 to Thompson Road, get off on Thompson Road, turn right away from the storage units that are right there at the corner. Come down to Torrey Road, and you could look to your left, and you knew when you had to turn right, because it was a whole field full of storage units. So that's not the type of directions you think you do it. Now, you could tell them, hey, follow the signs to Miller Industries and turn. I just think, and I truly do apologize, that this is not what the people in Fenton Township elected us to do for them or to them, and we've got to recognize that. I've had several individuals that have contacted me, and I've referred them to Tom, so I don't know if they followed. They wanted to know, because I'm clerk, about recalls. And if you look, if you're not doing anything after we finish tonight, there's 2 different Facebook posts that are groups that really don't like us right now. And it's over these things where we're ignoring what the people have wanted us to do. And I could go on forever, and it's just a waste of time.
You don't have a 3-minute limit.
Oh, I know, but,
Yeah, he does.
no, there,
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
All
well,
right, he
then
does.
I will keep going. No, we've gotta look at this. You know, if anybody thinks it's funny, then they haven't been paying attention, regardless of which side you're on. This isn't funny. This is a serious, this is probably one of the most serious decisions I've made as a trustee in the last 30-plus years. I'll stop.
Okay.
No, I thank you, but come clap for my granddaughters when they perform or something. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
I have some concerns I'd like to share. For one, I grew up in Linden a few years ago. And I can tell you that when I grew up, Silver Parkway didn't exist. It's hard to believe for all of us who live here now, but it wasn't there. And it was heartbreaking when they put it in. And I have to tell you, I live here now. It's not as bad as any of us thought it was going to be, and we enjoy the conveniences. Thompson Road is ugly. It's all zoned commercial. I understand that, and I wouldn't want to live next to a massive commercial building either. You know, I'll just put that out there. But Thompson Road is ugly and it needs to be cleaned up. The one, well, maybe there's two businesses on Thompson Road that are nice looking. The very first is Miller Industries. And I know that doesn't change, you know, people's minds, but they do a nice job. And I would say the little Thompson IG that's next to your neighbor, you know, they keep their place very nice. That strip there is nice. I will tell you that the south side of the road is an embarrassment. I mean, it's just, it's nasty. Change is coming. Growth is coming. You know, it's hard. I don't like it either. I live very close to where we're sitting today. I get off the highway at Thompson Road all the time. You know, it is getting busier, and that's progress. And I can tell you, I used to live off Owen Road, and when I go over there now, I think, ooh, this is crazy. You know, so we need to manage the growth. I agree with that. We need to manage the growth. We're not here tonight to vote on the building for Miller Industries. We're not here tonight to vote on an abatement for Miller Industries, and that is not on the agenda.
No, it is not.
So I appreciate the conversation, but I don't think that's what we're considering tonight. Although, you know, Mike works closely with the Planning Commission, I mean, he knows what's coming next. But Thompson Road is zoned commercial, and it's gonna become commercial. You know, it already is. I'm not saying that we negate this fact, and I live here too. I grew up in Linden, I moved away for several years, and I moved back here on purpose. You know, I moved back to Fenton Township because it was home. It's an area I love. I love the farmland too. I love the rural community. I love being able to go to Eichelberg's and buy corn in the summer and, you know, Star's Farm and all of these things. But there's been a lot of change, and there's no easy answer. And I understand and appreciate all of you who come and give your concerns. But if 15 or 20 people give their concerns, what about the other, how many thousands of people do we have in the township?
Almost up.
Again, on that note, I will go back to the school board elections. Don't have a lot of turnout on school board elections, but the people that do come out and vote, that becomes law.
I agree.
Okay, so, I mean, I understand 90% of the people of the 20 are against this. So I can extrapolate that farther out, that maybe not 90-10 throughout the whole township, but I'd be willing to bet some money that if the people here are 90-10 opposed to this, you can probably push that out farther, that the majority of the township residents And I understand the people that are for this, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, in their opinion matters, but if one of them lives at Linden and Owen, and the other one lives at Grove Park and Torrey, I'm gonna take the people that live on Ray Road that are directly affected by that. I'm gonna consider that more of a, important comment than somebody that literally lives the opposite corner of the township, for instance. So, I understand what you're saying, but we have people here that are our constituents that are directly related to this. Just because the majority of people that aren't directly affected by this have an opinion one way or another, I am putting more value on the opinions of people that are directly affected by this.
I understand.
I agree with that, and I do like the fact that we did do, the planning commission did some compromise on pulling those properties out. It sounded like there was some conflict as to whether, those properties wanted to be part of this, remember?
Yeah, but right now, we are voting on this.
On
to turn
this,
to-
correct, this one
And
parcel.
we have somebody that lives right there.
Right.
That, again, I don't think he's gonna get value out of his property, and I think we're actually doing harm to our residents. Because you can't tell me that that property, what it was worth 10 years ago, is gonna be now worth more with a 40-foot building to the west of it and a 40-foot building to the south of it.
It's a good point. Julia, because I'm not a tax expert, but I would like to, because I understand, if I was sitting next to that building, I'm a business person, so to me, I always think of things in business, but you were talking about the value of a property that was 80,000, and now it's worth 1.1 million. So, with Miller being there, a house probably, if you want to maintain that house, what would the value be? But if it was changed to industrial, or what we're planning on changing it with, could you extrapolate and say that what was worth 80 is now worth 1.1 million? So if I'm sitting on that house and I decide I want to sell that house,
That depends. It depends on a lot of things, because typically how we determine value increases or decreases is driven by the market.
Okay.
And typically it takes 2 years for homes to sell in that area to see if it's an increase or a decrease. Kind of like, Christine was saying, Walmart. I've been here for a long time, so when that subdivision, when Walmart came in, we had probably over 100 appeals, because everybody came in because their property values were gonna go down because there was a wall and a Walmart and Silver Park where it was happening. There again, we have to wait and the market will tell us. Actually, what happened is all those homes increased. The people that were there that didn't like it left, but they got more for their home because they got people that came in that wanted those amenities so that they could walk, shop, convenience. And there wasn't a bunch of noise, there wasn't a bunch of this and that everybody thought there was gonna be. But it's really hard, the market has to tell us what that increase or decrease is gonna be. We can assume a lot of things, and we can assume that it may deteriorate the value, but we don't know that, because what happens when we start assuming things, 9 times out of 10 we're wrong. And one of the things that we can look at is also Audubon Meadows up on Wiggins Road. That was one of the things that happened there when they built that industrial building to those homes on the backside. It didn't change the value when those homes sold. They didn't lose value, so to say this is going to do that, I don't know if it's going to. And it, especially for some of those houses on Ray Road, those, to me, the houses on Ray Road are the ones that are impacted the most because they back up to it. The other ones, there aren't any other rural areas, there's 2 or 3 houses on Tory Road and the houses on Ray Road. Other than that, for a market analysis, those are the only homes that would be impacted. The other ones are too far out, because when you have a building community and people are buying new to set the market values, they're gonna see what's there. Existing people may not like that it's changing. I grew up here too. I've been here all my life. I worked here 30 years and 30 years before that, I lived here and I grew up here. I've seen what's happened at Fenton Township. But there are areas that are designated for rural areas in our township. That's what the township board does. There are areas that are designated for commercial and industrial. That is the Thompson Road area. And that has always been that area. Is it getting more improved now? Yeah, you've got little shops here and there. But when you start talking about a larger building, that gets everybody's eyes. However, what is the impact on that building for that area? We could have a GM plant going in. Could have went there. That corner would not look like it does right now, but it is a commercial and industrial area. Now, the homes on Ray and Torrey Road, if they were to sell, like you were reflecting earlier, the agricultural property, changing from 88,000 and not collecting any SO tax because it's agricultural exempt. Once it changes the class of the property and the zoning, that's when that big change comes in. That's another aspect of not only residential home selling, but an actual property being brought up for a different use. And a changing class, that's when you get the difference in the values from a residential value to a commercial or an industrial value.
Well, I consider you an expert. I've worked with you side by side for a long time, and I always look to you, and I appreciate your balanced answer. It was, basically, you don't know. So, to me,
We don't know. We can assume a lot of things, but we don't know until the market
tells us.
what it's doing.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna assume anything because you just can't, because you don't know what the impact is going to be. You might find somebody that works at Miller Industries that doesn't wanna drive. So they buy one of those houses on Murray Road because it doesn't impact them and they can walk to work. They can ride their bike to work. It just depends. It just depends on who the buyer and seller are. You
Let's
have
not get it back and forth.
demographics Of what's gonna happen there, and we don't know what's gonna happen until it happens.
I think, first of all, I'd like to commend everybody, because this is what makes government work. We do work for you. You pay our salaries, and we're elected to do a job, to represent you, but to also make decisions. And I know all of us in here can sit and look at an administration, whether it's the current administration, the last administration, or 12 administrations ago. We hated 50% of what they did and liked 50% of what they did. I don't think there's ever going to be a right answer on anything that this board does. But I can tell you what, I know each and every one of these people work for nothing, basically. They have passion, like Mark, like Bob, like Christine, you know, like Rob. Everyone, I've been here 44 years. I don't want to see, I've heard rumors that are online that I'm all for all this, building thousands of houses and all that. There's a story behind all of it. But I do want to say thank you to every one of you, because the board does listen. I know the planning commission listened, because they shrunk the area. But at the same time, I'm not giving you my answer, how I'm going to vote, but to me, if there is a place to put a building like Miller Industries, I can't think of anywhere else in the township, and I can't. That's why I wanted, was it Matt? To explain it to me, because putting it up against, and I understand the people that live there, please don't think I don't. But putting it up against an expressway, I don't think anyone's gonna build a house there. No one's gonna do anything else with it. I mean, there's two buildings that sit there. So to me, I don't wanna say I agree with Christine. I've been getting off at Thompson Road on that expressway for 44 years. The same buildings on the south side are the same buildings there were 44 years ago. Do I differ in Mark? Would I like to see I would be more with Christine. I would like to see maybe a restaurant. I would like to see nice new buildings. I would maybe like to see a car wash. This board has worked together to bring infrastructure. We are changing the bridge. And you say that somebody said that you don't think the bridge is going to make a difference. I was lucky. The money was procured through appropriations. So I was able to sit with Mike through every engineering from phase 1, phase 2, environmental. I got to sit in every meeting, which normally that wouldn't be my position. But I can tell you what we're building is going to be the same car throughput as a 4-lane bridge. But instead of costing 80 million or 60 to 80 million, it's costing us 12. And we were able to procure all of that money from the state. So taxpayers are not paying, well, yeah, we are. We're just paying it to the state. But, so we are working on the infrastructure. The infrastructure is there. Would I rather see a Walmart where you've got 1,200 cars a day coming and going at all times, or somebody that's got a building that employs 600 people, that's giving our schools $500,000, and they come to work in the morning, they may go out and spend money in the afternoon, and then they go home. So we as a board have to balance what it is. I mean, what's out there? What do we want to see on Thompson Road? But I can guarantee you this board is not going to put things out on Thompson Road that shouldn't be there. Now, you said, would you rather have a hotel? Would you rather have, see those type of things rather than Miller Industries? To me, a hotel, yeah, I think it doesn't create a lot of traffic. But I would not want to see, like up on Hill Road, a car dealership that sees 400 to 500 cars a day. So we have to try to find a balance, and I think that's what this board's being asked to do, is to make a decision on that balance. Are we going to make everyone happy? No, I don't think so. Whichever way this board goes, someone's not going to be happy. But again, I think everyone that sits up here, and I will speak for everyone, we wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't care. We may differ a little bit on what we would like to see. I would like to see Thompson Road with some nicer things in it, nicer buildings, a restaurant. I want my daughter to live here. We fought that fight before. I mean, everybody says, I live here, I don't want anybody else to come here. Well, I do. I want my daughter to live here. But she can't afford to buy $1.5 million house on Lake Fenton. So I would like to see development here. I would love her to be able to move here with her husband. So to me, you'd say, well, I don't want anybody else here. And we talk about homes. Oh, you're reading the paper, there's 800 homes. I've watched this on the internet. People say, oh my God, you're building, this board wants all this development. Every one of those homes were being built on land that was already zoned that way. This board's never changed zoning. So when you hear somebody say, I was sitting next to a beautiful farm or a beautiful piece of land and I get to watch deer, when they built the house, it was zoned R3. Knowing that it's medium density residential. That's not this board making those decisions. You know what it was? It's a developer saying, hey, I believe enough in the economy and I think there's enough demand in Fenton Township to build those homes. You don't need to let me talk. So the bottom line is that I believe that we are going to have growth, but I think you can respect the board to know that it's going to be smart growth. And I think you have a board that does that. And again, I'm not speaking for Miller Industries because we're not even here to vote on that. But I commend every one of you, whether you're online or on Zoom or here. You make government work. You hold us accountable. We work for you. And I think that the decision that's made here is, no matter whether you like the decision or not, it's going to be made in the best interest of the township. To some, yes. To some, no. And I believe that from the bottom of my heart, from the people that are sitting up here. Yes, Bob.
If you want me to vote yes, make it boutiques, shops, a theater, nice restaurants that the people could use.
See, Bob, we can't control that. What happens with the business?
I've been fighting for that for 30 years.
But
and everybody wants to change it.
But see, they need rooftops. I was a businessman. I know what I needed. You need, if you want a boutique, you want this and all those things, you also have to have the population to support it. You have to have the traffic to support it. Everything else that goes with it. So if you don't have those, why do you think nobody's built on Thompson Road? Because there's nothing there. There's no reason for me to spend $1 million of my money to build a boutique when there's nobody coming down there.
There were problems with our development before we had sewers and water. That inspired a lot of people to change. And one lady mentioned she liked the idea, but she lives on Owen Road, so she doesn't have to get off at Thompson Road. We've got to look, and let's forget Miller Industries. Let's not pick on one entity, but there's opportunity. Still talking Miller Industries, Fenton for development that will add to the families. You know, my big dream, and it turned out it's just a dream, it's actually a nightmare now, was to, on Thompson and Torrey, before the storage units were there, we had a developer that wanted to build new homes all the way to a take care of the old folks home. And with restaurants and things. The idea was, if we do it right, in my mind this isn't right, but that's beside the point. If we do it right, we can create areas for our people. That if the family wants to go have lunch somewhere, when they're done with lunch, they can go shopping, maybe to a movie, maybe to dinner, without ever getting back in their car. And I believe if we were looking at that type of development, I'd be sitting on your lap, well, not probably not, but
I hope not.
voting yes.
Well,
So I mean, you
I
know,
think your dream will come true. I don't think right now the way that Thompson Road looks east is that, but I think, Bob, your dream will be fulfilled when you see what's gonna probably happen in the future on the west side. I think we have people that are looking at that, building facilities, senior facilities and that sort of stuff. I think you're gonna find that demand comes when a company looks at the area and says, can I build this? Can I make money? Right now, anybody that wants to do anything on the west side without the bridge can't do anything. So the dream, I think you want to see, I think will come. But I think it's gonna be on the west side of Fenton Road, or on US 23, in time. But anyway, let's, if there's no other comments, go ahead, Christie.
I have a question. Can we put, Tom, can we put up one of these
On the screen,
layouts
sure.
on the screen so that everyone can see and we can focus in on exactly what we're considering tonight
Mhm.
with these resolutions?
While you're working on that, Mike, I have a question for you. Right now,
I'm on
Mr.
page
Lonsberry, the
200.
property to Mr. Lonsberry's, what is it zoned, right?
R3.
It is R3, okay. So, the sub-plan we're voting on tonight, sub-area plan, would that change that to highway service district?
No, the planning commission specifically asked him at the last meeting if he
No,
wanted.
not his, the parcel to the west of it.
Correct, yes,
Okay.
to highway service.
So, this is, vote tonight is actually changing zoning, including that, if we vote yes on this.
No, I'm sorry, would be changing the land use. The zoning itself would not be changing as part of this plan.
Okay, so, but we are changing the use of it, so it is, for all intents and purposes, changing it from R3 to industrial.
So it's currently, so the parcel along US 23 is currently zoned planning and development as part of the Miller Industries
Yes.
parcel. Right, so there is a use restriction, right, on that parcel that limits it to what the original zoning was, which was ag.
And the vote tonight will change that use restriction, take that away.
No. That would be a different review by the township.
So why is it changed on this thing we're voting on tonight?
Because this is the land use plan, as per the, it's an amendment to the master plan, right?
Okay.
So you will be seeing a rezoning or an amendment to the PUD, which essentially is a rezoning request. But that's not what's being discussed tonight, right? Because the reason why that.
I understand that, I'm just trying to, why is it changing colors today then with the approval of the sub-area plan?
Because otherwise, there would be no change and any rezoning request would be likely recommended for denial because it wouldn't comply with the land use plan.
Thank you.
So Mike, we have the picture up there, so just for members of the audience, so the dark brown area.
So there should be another one on the next page.
One more. One down.
There you go, they
Yes,
took that
so
one
this
parcel
is what
out.
the,
Takes that one
this is what the recommendation from the planning commission is.
What was the vote on the command?
It was 6-1.
So what is the dark brown area now?
That
So
is
it's-
highway service is what that is, classification.
And if we vote in favor of this resolution today, how does it change the treatment of this property specifically?
So for this specific property, there is a restriction on the land use that limits it to either agricultural use or emergency access use.
And we would be removing that?
No. You would have, the applicant would have, or the property owner would have the ability, right, and they have made an application, right? The planning commission has reviewed an application. That is a separate matter that will be reviewed. But, you know, what you're looking at today, right, is the land use plan, right? If you do not make a change to the land use plan, right, the recommendation that you'll see from the planning commission on the amendment to the PUD would not be, one of the conditions was that the land use plan is updated, right? Because at the end of the day, when they look at rezonings and amendments to PUD, follow what the land use plan says. So, look, you are not changing the zoning today, realistically. What decision you make will have an impact on a future review of that.
Mike, what's the main purpose of them? Why do you want to change it? What are we gonna do? Is it the third building that we're trying to put in there?
Well, so when the planning commission originally looked at the entire area, right, because that was the goal, right? It was look at the utilities that are available, look at the infrastructure that's available, look at what the county is looking to do, looking at what the county is seeking funding for, and what uses are appropriate for that infrastructure. Looking at the goals of the master plan of preserving the rural and agricultural lands of the township, promoting smart growth in the areas where the infrastructure exists. When you look at where non-residential, commercial/industrial uses could and should happen, it's this area, right? And that has been the traditional plan for the area, as non-residential. Going back to the 2002 master plan future land use plan. Back halves of all these parcels were identified for industrial, right? And as John tells it, right, you had the second review of the Thompson Road corridor. The people who were at those meetings didn't understand what was happening along Thompson Road and identified the area as town center, right? That area went all the way up to the back of the houses, right? So the majority of people who have purchased on the lots in that area, that was the master plan that was in place, the future land use plan. It wasn't low-density residential. It was town center, right? Those that were there earlier than that, it was industrial. Now, the houses directly on Ray Road, those are identified as low-density residential. But the majority of that area has been identified in some way or form as non-residential for the past 20 years. So again, when the planning commission was looking at it, right, they saw water's available now, sewer's available, it's right off of 23. You've got the roundabout project coming. The county is looking at widening Torrey Road going north, when you look at your goals for directing smart growth, that's where the infrastructure is, that's where the growth should be. We took the comments from the public, and that's based on public comment, it's been reduced now, right? That specific parcel has access to both Torrey and Thompson Road, right? It has water, it has sewer, right? And it's along US 23. Traditionally, when you put those types of qualities together, it's a non-residential parcel, right? And in this case, highway service is the classification that we have in our land use categories.
Any other questions, comments?
So if we approve this change, then there can be an application to put in
Look,
additional.
there is an application, right?
Okay.
Planning Commission has reviewed an application, has made a recommendation that if the land use plan is adopted as presented, to adopt that change.
And where would that third where on the application, where would that third building reside? Right
Along
the highway?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And when the original PUD came in, back in, when it came in, 25, end of 24, 25, there was a concept plan that included, you know, and that's why that condition was put in there, right? And Planning Commission did not look at that area specifically for Miller, right? As we mentioned, Genesee County Metropolitan Planning Commission was here, made a presentation on their US 23 corridor. Genesee County Road Commission has been looking at, you know, their funding. They're making funding decisions now, and, you know, we're trying to coordinate with all the other land use plans that are going, looking at the infrastructure changes and promoting smart growth in the right areas.
All right, I'm gonna call it, so we can just.
Well, there's a new person.
Not only that, when people on Zoom are saying they can hear others on Zoom, but they can't hear this conversation right now. Check and see.
Microphones are on, I don't.
Yeah, everything's on. It could be, it's spotty everywhere, especially if they're watching a soccer game. I used to sit there with my daughter, so I know exactly what it's like. Well, it should have gotten better by then, but it might not have been. But we've shut that down anyway, so, I mean.
See if there's anybody else that's not muted that's talking, or just double check with them, because they're trying to hear.
I can't do anything about the hearing. There's nothing, Tom, is there anything we can do?
The Zoom is.
Yeah, Zoom is what it is. It's not perfect anymore, but, all right. If there's no other questions, okay, resolution number 2026-11. Clerk Klug, will you please present the resolution?
Adopt the US 23 sub-area plan as recommended by the Fenton Township Planning Commission. I will move the resolution.
I'll second it.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any other further discussion? Hearing none. Clerk Klug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Gopel,
No.
Tucker's absent. Lorraine,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
I vote no. Reed,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
passes 4-2.
Thanks, Bob. I want to thank everyone for coming. And like I said, I know that people are going to leave here disappointed. And
You don't have to say nothing else, right? Nothing. Disappointment is an understatement.
all right, next under new business is resolution number 2026-12, transfer of CDBG funds. Operations Manager Broker, will you review?
Yes, so the township has been advised that due to the time frame covered by the Audio Eye website tool, not all the costs associated with that project were eligible to be reimbursed under the CDBG contract. So as a result, we have a little over $14,000 in 2025 CDBG funds that must be spent by the end of September. We really have only two options. One, we could transfer the remaining funds to our senior programming project to allow maybe some special programs through Southern Lakes for senior citizens, or allow Genesee County to take the money back and it go into their home improvement program, which would benefit eligible residents throughout the county, not just in our community. So my recommendation is to keep it more local and transfer the money to the senior programming contract account. I've talked to Tyler at Southern Lakes. They said they can put to very good use to benefit the seniors.
Thanks, Tom. Any questions or comments from the board? I agree with Tom's recommendation. I think it should stay local and go to our seniors programs. Okay, resolution number 2026-1, oh, I'm sorry, is there any other questions? Okay, resolution number 2026-12, Clerk Krug, will you please present the resolution?
Yes, it authorized, pardon me, it authorized the transfer of $14,767.12 into the 2025 CDBG fund from the Public Facility Improvement Project to the Senior Programming Project. I will move the resolution.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Kessler.
Yes.
I vote yes. Reed.
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Tucker's absent. Gopal.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Thanks, Bob. All right, moving on to the next business order is board comment. Is there anyone on the board who has additional comments? All righty, we will move on to the last thing tonight, which is public comment on agenda and non-agenda items. I will open up the meeting. Is there anyone present? And come on up, Matt.
I will not address this current meeting. Matt Burchard, 4260 West Four Lakes. Early April, we had a rain event happen in Fenton Township. Everybody was affected by it. A lot of rain. I don't believe it was historical rain. People said it was a 100-year flood. But it appears that there's infrastructure issues that are failing that are affecting homeowners. During that, I sent a letter in, but during that day, the Genesee County Drain Commission requested that people stop flushing their toilets. People that are Fenton Township, but on the south side of the lake, Fenton City, were being told and had sewage backing up into their houses. As we grow, we have to be able to control this. Mr. Tucker stated at the Planning Commission meeting that that was infiltration that we're not controlling, but if we can't control it, who's gonna help us out? Who from the County Drain Commission is gonna help us out? What's gonna stop this, right? Because, you know, we continue to build houses and develop, we're gonna do that. But at the same time, how is that water gonna affect other people? And it happened once, it's gonna happen again.
Matt, I have taken a lot of those phone calls.
Okay. And my last statement real quick is, I want to put a formal request in to the board here tonight, as well as the Planning Commission, to do a formal review to redo the master plan prior to the required review of it. That's every 5 years. So if I need to formally put that in writing and email it in, I will do that. But I want to have the master plan reevaluated and properly surveyed by the residents of this township for future planning.
Mike, do you know when that's scheduled? We were planning on that, but we were thinking about moving it up anyway.
Yeah, so, right, it was last approved in 24, right? So
Yeah, it's usually 5 years.
In 28. We're not worried, you know, that's a board decision, you know, to review the master plan.
When we went through it last time, just so you know, Matt, and I don't know how many public meetings we went through, 5. I mean, you hire a firm, they come in, they listen to the residents, and that's how they map it.
Yep.
I mean, we voted on it, and I can tell you now, there's things that I should have looked at closer.
You learn.
You learn.
Yeah, we learn.
And
We
I've
have-
been sitting on this board for over 16 years, and I'm not saying I made a mistake, but, you know, when you hire a firm, you have public input, and they come back with a plan, and you look at it, and maybe you tweak it, it goes to the Planning Commission, and they tweak it.
And one of the things behind that plan was the amount of say voting residents, you can't count little children, but we had, what, 300 respondents to the surveys that went out. I think that's super low, and if some help from other social media helpers in the area, getting feedback from the people who live here of what we want to see in the future is key. Not just the board or the commission sitting down saying, this section looks like it's gonna be R3 or A5 or Q7, and pushing it to a future land use map.
I agree with you 100%. I would love to have 17,000 people in our township come to those meetings. And we have gotten so much better at social media. We do put things out there, and I think that's what's helped you guys organize also. I mean, we do post everything. But Mike, I thought the survey we did had a lot more than 300. I think it was like 1,700, wasn't it?
So that was short-term rentals.
Oh, that's right, that was short-term rentals.
You know, I was a planning consultant for 5 years, right? Doing communities all the way from Mackinac down to Toledo and everywhere in between. Unfortunately, 300 responses on a survey for a master plan is pretty good response.
It's sad.
Sad.
It's sad, and
that's good.
it takes an event like this for people to come out and give their opinion, only to find out that those areas have always been zoned commercial, or they've always been, you know, at medium density right next door to where you thought you were gonna watch the deer in an open field, because you assumed it was ag. It's so, gosh, you know, if everyone here can talk it up, and when it does come time for the master plan, please, please, please come forward. Because this board is, you know, when things come before us, one of our big criteria is this request consistent with the master plan? It's one of our, it's our guideline.
That's what I've learned in the last 90 days.
So I appreciate you coming up and making that known, and we do want people to come and give their opinions and tell us what you think. I know in the last round, there were some areas that were looking to zone commercial that I had real heartburn with, you
Yep.
know.
You did.
I did, and I voiced that, but, you know, we need the community to come and tell us these things. More of the community. I
We'll get 'em
mean,
here.
I appreciate you guys being here and expressing your concerns, but yeah, if we could send a rally cry and get more feedback, it would be great.
What I will do is I will sit down with Tom tomorrow and with Mike and see if we can put together a plan. The board, again, is that it is an expense to the township and to the, you know, the taxpayers that you pay into. They're not cheap, but what we can do is take a look at what we think is a proper timeline. And then I think over the last 2 or 3 years, certainly since the last one, our social media is to the 10th power. And believe me, we would love to see this room packed full of people, giving this firm that we hired a piece of their mind, saying this is what we would like to see.
For sure. It's possible we can gather some data prior to bringing the firm on to save the township cash, right? By doing surveys and things like that outside of the firm, and then letting them package the data, right? Because the questions that are asked in this current master plan are the same that were asked in Brighton Township, Tyrone, and Howell. They're identical, it's cut and paste. That's all it is.
Probably, with what the consulting
Template.
firm said, this is what we
Yep.
need. So again, we are certainly not survey experts.
Sure.
Especially when it comes to a master plan, so we rely on and we pay people to do that. But I don't know what they would say, but we can certainly give them guidelines and say, hey, first thing we want to do is we're going to send out a newsletter, and we'll send out a newsletter. I would certainly sign off, that's in my purview, to send a newsletter to every resident in, you know, that has a mailbox here, and send that out and say, this is what we're going to do. 2028, we're going to start the master plan, and we want everybody to show up.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, is there anybody else that would like to, yes?
Hi, my name is Phyllis Forrester. I live at 13406 Enid Boulevard, but I'm also the president of the Lake Fenton Property Owners Association. And on the previous screen, there was another agenda item that we didn't talk about, the SAD for Ruth Drive.
That was we took that off the agenda, and I forgot to take it off the screen. That was my fault.
Okay, I was
So,
just, okay.
Yeah, it's
I was
the canal down there.
I'm involved with that.
Okay.
With the
Yeah.
people who live there, so I just wanted to
Yeah,
talk
we
about
talked
that.
to them today. We're waiting for updated proposals. So we initially had it on the agenda, decided to wait, and I forgot to take it off the screen.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that. All right. Is there anybody else in attendance tonight that would like to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items? Hearing none, we'll move to Zoom. Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items? If so, just wave your hand, unmute. I'll give it a couple extra seconds because people are at the soccer game. All right, hearing none, I will now close public comment. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, both in person and on Zoom. It is now 8:36 p.m. If there's nothing else, I say good night, and the meeting is adjourned.